All right, welcome to the Web EOC tutorial video. Today we're going to be going over a short video tutorial of Web EOC. Web EOC is the information management system used inside the Seminole County Emergency Operations Center. Today I'm going to be going over just a basic overview of how to log into the system, how to properly navigate inside the system itself, and some of the capabilities of Web EOC. This is not meant to be a replacement of our regularly scheduled basic EOC, Web EOC training, where we go more in depth on the types of information you as a user should input into the system when you're operating inside the EOC. This training is a lighter version, and it can be used as a refresher if you've already taken the basic EOC, Web EOC course, or if you have never heard of Web EOC and you've never logged into our system at any time. All right, so one of the first things you're going to want to do when you log into a computer inside the Emergency Operations Center is get onto your taskbar and click on the Google Chrome web browser icon. Google Chrome is the web browser of choice when we're operating Web EOC. Web EOC, all of the functionality seems to work best with Google Chrome. Once you click on the Google Chrome icon, it is going to open up to the default page, which should be our internal SharePoint. Once you're here, you're going to click on the large Web EOC icon. That's going to take you to this splash page, the initial splash page of Web EOC. Once you're here, take a moment to read this. This is informing you that this system, it is a Region 5 information system. It is meant for authorized users only, meaning that if you are an EOC staff member or you're an outside partner who has been given access to Web EOC, those are the people who are allowed to use this system. It is for authorized use only. The passwords and usernames that you are given are not to be distributed to anyone else. Let's take a moment to read this. Also of note, this is a regional system, meaning that each county in the region that is using it has a contact, as you can see here, for issues with Web EOC. Here in Seminole County, I am the contact, the primary contact. If you have issues with Web EOC, go ahead and give me a call or shoot me an email, and I can see if I can get those resolved for you. Next, you're going to click Accept. This is going to take you to your login page. This is where you're going to input your username and password that you're given for entrance into the system. Inside the EOC, our usernames begin with FLSC, and then whatever position you or emergency support function you're staffing within the EOC itself. The password, we update this on a regular basis. The password will be given to you when you come to that larger Web EOC training or when you are arriving in the EOC to staff a position for activation. Once you've input your username and your password, you're going to go ahead and log into the system. From this point, you're going to select your position. All emergency support function positions in the EOC have only one option for selection, so you won't even have this drop-down tab. Only command and general staff positions have an ability to change that. So you shouldn't need to worry about which position you are logged into. This should be here by default. Next is incident. This is very important. We're going to notify you when you arrive in the Emergency Operations Center of which incident you should select to log into. By default, it is on Region 5 daily operations. You have multiple different options as well, or you could have. Today for training, we're going to be choosing CERT training. So when you first arrive inside the EOC, make sure you receive from one of the Emergency Operations Center staff which incident you should be logging into. Go ahead and select your incident and click Continue. This is a very important screen. This is where you are going to input your personal information. We do use common logins for positions. So say, for example, you're working in the logistics section inside the Emergency Operations Center. All of the staff within the logistics section will use that same initial login and password, but here is where you can personalize your login. So you're going to want to input your correct name here, your full name, first and last name, your location. If you're inside the Emergency Operations Center, most users should be inside the Emergency Operations Center, but we could have folks that are outside in the field using the system as well. In that case, you could put that location, or you could simply type in mobile for your location. Here's where we're going to input your best contact information. For the majority of users, this is going to be your primary desk phone inside the Emergency Operations Center. You're going to want to input your entire phone number here, not just the extension. The reason for that is In outside users using this system, they may need to contact you and they may not know that it is a prefix of 407 and 665. So put your full phone number and your exact desk extension. If you are a mobile user of the system using an outside emergency operations center, select the best contact information. Typically, probably your cell phone number or your personal, your work cell phone number would be the best option here. For email, you're going to input your emergency support function email if you're inside the Emergency Operations Center. For example, here we have FLSC Logistics at Seminole County FL. That is the logistics section email, and that's what we're going to want to input here. If you're in another emergency support function, go ahead and put in that email. Down here, you don't want to touch this. This is by default filled out for Seminole, and that's how I track and we track how many users we have in the system from Seminole County. So you want to keep this the same as Seminole. Once you filled out your identified information here, you're going to click Continue. And this is going to bring you to the home page of WebEOC. We have a system-wide message here, and you can see again, this is just simply those regional contacts for any issues with WebEOC. And this is your home page. Once you're inside WebEOC, it's important to note you don't want to touch any of your actual web browser buttons, meaning Google Chrome buttons. So you don't want to use your refresh or your back buttons inside or the part of the browser itself. You want to stay within WebEOC and use these buttons. So no back arrows, refresh. If you do need to do a refresh, Control R is your best option. So hit Control on your keyboard, hit Control and R, and that will refresh the screen. But you shouldn't have to because WebEOC automatically refreshes on its own. From this point, you have your Home tab, and you have a drop-down menu. Your drop-down menu contains what is called your board set. A board set, everything within WebEOC that is an information platform is called a board. So you have, for example, your after action review board, your business status board, and you can see their titled boards at the top. So you have your drop-down menu and then your boards that are specific to your emergency support function login. So these are all of the boards, for example, that are for the logistics section. To be able to open one, you simply click on it and it's going to open just like a web browser in its own tab. You can open multiple different boards along the top, similar again to a web browser. And you can open as many as you need to along the top of your screen. If you open more than can fit, simply hit the over arrow and that will reveal the board sets that could not fit on your display view along the top. If you want to close one, you simply hit the exit button and that's going to close your board. If you are a multitasker and you have dual screens possibly at your desk inside the Emergency Operations Center or wherever you're working, you have the ability to open multiple different boards on separate screens. The best way to do that is go to the board you would like to open on a separate screen, move over to the right and hit the little expander button. And that is going to open into a separate screen that can be pulled over or dragged over to one or more or multiple different screens for you to be using. At any time, if you want to navigate back to the home screen, you're going to simply hit the home button and it's going to take you back to this home screen. When you do open a board, you have different options for viewing it. Multiple different boards have different filters on them to filter by the desired set of information you're looking for. So for example, if you're in a resource request or task assignment board and you would like to filter by unassigned, you can select that filter and it's going to filter. As you can see, we have no resource requests that are unassigned, so it's not going to show anything. So you can filter by status or you can filter by my items. Filters are located along the top of each board. So that's important. If you are looking to filter by any type of information, you can filter by the top of the board. And you can also select these types of filters here. So these, if we want to filter by assigned to, that's going to filter by its assignment. You can also select priority. Multiple different boards have these filter options. So just look for these if you're looking to filter different types of information. Boards also have a search feature. So if you'd like to search for anything, say generator, you can search for anything and it will pull up that record for whatever you've searched for. In WebEOC, Anytime you're looking to input what's called a record, so that would be inputting information into a board, would be creating a new record. That's always going to be off to your right-hand side, and it's going to be a green button. So for example, here on the Resource Request Task Assignment board, I'm going to hit Create New Record. And that's going to open an input view. And depending on the board itself, the inputs could be different, but it gives a description for every bit of information you need to input. So that's going to give you an idea of the type of information you need to type in each of these boxes. We go over in detail on the basic EOC Web EOC training what all the different types of information you should be putting in here to give you a better understanding. But for this point, you can just look at these titles at the top, and that should give you a pretty good idea of what you need to input in these boards. Importantly, once you're done inputting any information, to actually save that, you need to click the Save button. If you click the Save button and it is not letting you save it, it's going to let you know that you haven't input required information and where that is. So for example, here, I need to go back up and input a mission request name. That's going to be the same for any type of board that is in the system. If you have the ability to input it, the resource, or for example, resource request, the new record is going to be off to the right. Not every emergency support function has input or edit rights for every single board. Boards are assigned according to function and position, meaning that if you are an emergency support function that does not need to input that information for that type of board, you'll only have view rights to that board. Next, we have menus. Menus are basically board sets that are collapsed into a menu. It's a way to save space in the system. If you have access to a menu, it's going to be down here and it's going to be loaded in your board set. You'll click on it and it will expand, revealing more boards. Menus are basically a good way to save space within the system. You also have links within the system. Links are exactly what they seem like. It's a quick link to an outside resource. Rather than having to go up into a separate web browser and do a Google search for it, you have it here as a quick link. An important note, if you click on a quick link and it does not open, check and make sure that you have browser pop-ups enabled for Web EOC. Once you've done that, you can go back in and open your link. So reviewing, you have your board sets and your list of boards that are again specific to your emergency support function. To open a board, you'll simply click on it. If you would like to open multiple boards in different windows, you go ahead and hit the expand button and that will open into a different window. To create a record, off to the right hand side of every board, hit the green button for new record, and that will let you create a new input record for that board. Titles for each bit of information that you need to input will be above the input box, letting you know what type of information needs to be input in that area. Remember to click Save to actually input that record into the board itself. If you are on a board with a large amount of information, again, I mentioned that Web EOC auto refreshes. That's a great function of the system, meaning that you don't have to, on your own, remind yourself to refresh it to update information. It auto refreshes. If you're on a board with a lot of information, that can be an issue when you're trying to search for information because it will auto refresh and bring you back to the top of the page. To be able to disable that temporarily so you can view and search for information on a board containing a large amount of information, down at the bottom, you have the ability to temporarily disable refresh. This is not recommended for most users, but in certain positions where, again, you are viewing a lot of information at once and searching for information, you can temporarily disable that, and that will allow you to scroll freely without worrying about the system refreshing and bringing you back to the top of the page. You do, however, need to remember to uncheck the disable refresh. If you are looking to export information from Web EOC, say to an Excel file, or to print a page of Web EOC for informational purposes, you have the ability to do that again at the top right-hand side of your screen. You have the ability to export. If you hit export, that's going to export the information or the records within this board to an Excel file. That can be convenient for sorting, for searching, for cataloging data. You also have the ability to print this page. The best way to do that, rather than again using your web browser buttons, you want to try and stay away from those if possible. Within the board itself, you can click on the Actions tab and click Print PDF, and that is going to print this board and the information it has within it to whichever. Once that you click that and print PDF, it's going to bring up your printer options, and you can print it however you want as standard. When you are done using WebEOC, say your shift inside the Emergency Operations Center has concluded, or you are outside the EOC using WebEOC and you're done using it, you do need to remember to log off. If you remember that first initial splash screen, this is a government system. It is for authorized users as well. Part of that is maintaining security of the system itself and the information within it. So you need to remember, once you're done using the system, go ahead and at the top of your screen, make sure you hit this log out button. And again, back to the beginning of the training, if you do have issues with WebEOC, questions about WebEOC, or you'd like some personalized training other than our regularly scheduled basic EOC and WebEOC training, go ahead and give me a contact right here using this information by phone or by email, and we'll be happy to schedule something for you.